The wind is a blade. Its cowls the high ridge, carrying the scent of pine and frozen earth. A smelling changed across 1,000 generations of this particular clan's hominid history. The old man, his brow a heavy shield of bone above deep-set eyes, tastes the air. He detects the familiar musk of the herd, the great mammoths, the Pleistocene megafauna that are the lifeblood of his people. Below, in the basin, they move like a slow, grey river for 3 days. His hunting party has shadowed them, a silent extension of the landscape itself. Their movements are economical, born of a life where every calorie is a coin to be hoarded. This is the essence of prehistoric life, a constant, brutal accounting of energy spent versus energy gained. The old man grips his spear, its massive U-shaft thick as his wrist, the stone point a masterpiece of forethought. Days ago, back in the rock shelter, he performed the motions his father taught him, a ritual of survival. He struck a prepared flint core with a hammerstone of antler, a precise application of force. The resulting flake, pre-shaped in his mind's eye before it ever existed, was a perfect, razor-sharp spearhead. This is the Lavaluvi's technique, an act of genius passed down through millennia, a conversation between a mind and a stone. His 2 sons and his nephew carry similar weapons, their faces grim and patient. They are ancient humans, sculpted by the ice and the hunt. Their powerful bodies a testament to a world that rewards strength. Their target is not the entire herd, but a specific weakness they have cultivated for weeks. Down in the narrow pass that separates the basin from the wider steppe, a pit lies hidden beneath a covering of branches and sod. They dug it in the last thaw, a debt of labor paid to a future hunger. The plan is simple, practiced, and lethal. 2 hunters will break from the ridge, showing themselves to the herd's matriarch, driving the confused animals toward the pass. The old man and his eldest son will wait near the trap, ready to descend upon the ensnared beast. It is a strategy of patience and intelligence, the hallmark of their kind. But as they descend the scree slope, a new scent fouls the wind. It is not animal, it is smoke, thin on delium. The old man freezes, one hand raised. The others stop instantly. Silence is their oldest tool, their most trusted shield. He creeps forward, belly to the frozen ground, his powerful frame moving with a predator's grace. He peers over the lip of the pass. The trap is sprung. The earth is churned, dark and wet, but it is empty. The great beast is gone, and around the ruined pit are footprints he has never seen before. They are narrower, the stride longer, the impression lighter. These are not his people. These are ghosts. Then he sees it, a discarded spear shaft. Broken, it is impossibly thin, a fragile-looking thing of birch, edged with feathers. This is not a thrusting spear for close, brutal work. It is something else, something new. The smoke comes from the far side of the valley, a lazy plume against the bruised twilight sky. The thieves are close. They are feasting on his family's future. He looks back at his sons. Their faces hard with confusion and anger. The choice is not a choice. To yield the kill is to yield the winter. He points with his spear, not toward home, but toward the smoke, toward the new shadows on his land, the strange and gracile figures of Homo sapiens. They move through the twilight, for phantoms of muscle and bone against the darkening snow. Their progress is a lesson in 1,000,000 years of survival skills. Each footfall placed with practiced silence on the frozen ground. The old man leads, his sons and nephew fanning out behind him, a familial hunting unit perfected for this world. Their entire existence, the cultural and technological legacy of the Moose-Terrian industry, is designed for this very landscape, for close, violent encounters with the great beasts that share it. But the enemy ahead is not a beast. It is a new and troubling thought, a problem without a pre-carved flint solution. The scent of roasted mammoth fat grows stronger, an obscenity on the wind. It is their food, their winter, their children's survival being devoured by strangers. From the cover of a dense copse of fir, They see them. There are more than 10. The figures are slender, almost fragile looking under the flickering firelight. Their movements quick and restless. They lack the sheer, grounded power of the clan. Yet they move with a coordinated energy that is unsettling. They are Homo sapiens. Their voices are a high-pitched, complex chatter, so different from the clan's deep, guttural communications. A direct assault would be madness. The old man's mind, a magnificent tool for calculating risk and opportunity, processes the scene. They are exposed. They are arrogant. They believe they have one. He gestures to his kin, a silent language of hands and eyes. They will not attack the camp. They will wait for the hunters to separate, to become complacent. They will use the narrow game trail that leads from the feast back into the valley, a place of ambush they know as well as their own cave. This is the way of the clan, the foundation of their success in this brutal theater of human evolution. Hours crawl by. 2 of the new people eventually rise, grabbing their strange, thin spears, and start back down the trail. The old man gives the signal. The attack is an explosion of silent, focused violence. His youngest son, a bull of a man, bursts from the shadows and brings his stone-tipped spear up into the ribs of the led stranger. The man makes a choked, surprised sound in falls. The old man and his nephew converge on the second, their massive bodies blocking all escape. The stranger is fast, dancing backward, but there is nowhere to go. This is the clan's element, the kill zone, the intimate embrace of death. But as the old man lunges, something impossible happens. The stranger does not try to close the distance. He keeps retreating, his eyes wide with fear, and raises not just his spear, but a second, shorter stick. It is an atlet. With a whip-like crack at his arm, he launches the spear. It does not fly like a thrown object. It is projected, a missile of wood and stone that covers 20 paces in the blink of an eye. The projectile hums past the old man's head with terrifying force and strikes his eldest son, who was moving to flank, in the shoulder. The man cries out, a sound of pure shock, and stumbles back, the slender shaft protruding from his body. The primal calculus of the fight shatters. The familiar dance of thrust and parry is rendered obsolete. The second stranger has already armed another projectile. The Neanderthals are frozen by a weapon that defeats their very nature, their physical supremacy negated by a simple piece of carved wood. This is not a hunt. It is a new kind of war. The old man sees the future in that instant, a future defined by a lethal distance he cannot cross. He grabs his wounded son, whose face is a mask of pain, and bellows the command to retreat. They melt back into the woods, dragging their wounded, leaving the body of the fallen stranger on the trail. They have drawn blood, but they have learned a fatal lesson. The valley is no longer theirs alone. A different kind of early human now walks this land, armed with a different kind of mind. The retreat is a grim procession. The wounded son groans with every jolting step. The alien spear shaft in his shoulder a totem of their defeat. Back in the familiar cold of their rock shelter, the clan's matriarch, the old man's sister, works with flint knives to cut away the shaft. Her face a mask of stoic concentration. She is the anchor of this family, the keeper of their hominid history. The wound is deep. Infection will come. A race between the body's fire and the spirits will to live. The cost of this new competition is now written in the flesh of their strongest hunter. The small community, no more than 20 individuals, gathers in the flickering tallow light. There is no debate, no council of elders. There is only a shared, silent understanding reflected in their eyes. Fear, a rare visitor to this cave, now sits among them like an uninvited guest. The theft of a single mammoth has become a war for the valley itself, a conflict central to the story of human ancestors and their divergent paths. For weeks, the valley becomes a landscape of ghosts. The Neanderthal clan, masters of ambush and terrain, use their intimate knowledge to harass the newcomers. They trigger rock slides near their hunting parties, foul their water sources, and leave the butchered remains of cave lions a clear warning near their camp. This is their territory, but the sapiens do not leave. They adapt. They post sentries. They move in larger, more coordinated groups. Their outlet tests a constant, visible threat. They are more numerous. Their numbers replenished by unseen groups from beyond the horizon. A relentless tide of gracile, clever people, the Neanderthals, whose population has always been sparse, are an island in that rising sea. The core of their strategy, the ambush, relies on surprise and overwhelming for set close quarters. The sapiens, with their projectile technology, have stolen that advantage. The breaking point comes with the first great snow of winter. The remaining megafauna are driven into a single, sheltered base in the last pantry before the world freezes solid. Both groups know this is the final hunt, the one that will determine who starves and who feasts. The old man, his face etched with the lines of impossible choices, leads his 3 remaining hunters out from the cave. His eldest son, feverish and weak, stays behind. It is an act of communal altruism, a painful sacrifice of pride for the sake of the clan. They find the sapiens already there, driving the mammoths toward a cliff edge. It is a bold, risky strategy. The Neanderthals' only chance is to disrupt them, to create chaos. They charge from the tree line, a wave of primal fury, their deep chests roaring a challenge. The sapiens turn, not with fear, but with chilling efficiency. A line of them raises their tests. A volley of spears streaks across the snow. The old man's nephew falls, a dart through his throat, dead before he hits the ground. The youngest son takes one in the thigh and goes down, bellowing in rage and pain. The old man, a living relic of a vanishing world of anthropology, feels a searing fire in his side as a point glances off his ribs. The charge is broken. The fight is over. It was never a fight at all. He scrambles to his wounded son, dragging him back toward the trees as the victorious sapiens turn their attention back to the mammoth herd, their shouts echoing across the basin. The sound is not of victory, but a simple, methodical word. They are not warriors. They are inheritors. The old man, half carrying his last able-bodied hunter, retreats into the forest, leaving the valley, the mammoths, and the future to the new people. The competitive exclusion principle, an invisible law of nature, has been enacted not with malice, but with a terrifying, indifferent finality. Back in the cave, there is only the sound of a labored breath. The wounded son from the first encounter is gone, his body marked with ochre and placed in a shallow grave at the back of the shelter. A final act of love before the long winter. Now, the second son lies dying. The old man watches the fire dance on the stone walls, the same walls that have watched his ancestors for 50,000 years. They are not defeated. They are obsolete. Their strength, their courage, their deep connection to this land, none of it was enough to overcome a new way of thinking, a new way of killing from a distance. The sapiens did not win because they were stronger, but because they could bring coordinated force to a single point from afar, a concept that has echoed through every human conflict since. The Neanderthals' world was one of intimate, brutal contact. The sapiens brought the cold mathematics of the projectile. As the last light of his lineage flickers in this silent cave, a profound question hangs in the frozen air. What happens when the tools you have perfected for a lifetime of survival are suddenly not the right tools for the world you now live in? Their struggle is a ghost that haunts our own DNA, a primal memory of the moment our direct ancestors proved that the future does not always belong to the strong, but to the adaptable. We are all that remains of that quiet, brutal war. What kind of fire will you choose to pass on?